Oh boy, I didn't mean to record so quickly. I wanted to collect my thoughts, but it'll be a quick, short video. So instead of watching mindless television, I started going down the rabbit hole at night and watching like travel guys, guys that go to other countries by themselves, no camera crew, and just document their adventures. And some of these dudes that drew something has gone to like every country on planet Earth and has, rated them and talks about the pros and cons. And it makes me go, I want to travel and not just book a travel agent, go to all the tourist locations. I want to go to these places that they're going. But what it has done is kind of opened my mind, because they're going to like those no-no places where you think, or most of you are American, or first world countries, that if you go to Afghanistan or Iraq, you're fearful that you're just going to get gobbled up by terrorists and become a hostage, which everything's possible, but how probable it is. And by these guys going to these places like Syria recently, like I'm watching multiple ones, and how friendly. It's changed my perspective on my own biases when it comes to other cultures, and I'm constantly trying to grow, because if you're like most Americans or most people, you're consuming propaganda. We all consume it, and even if you're trying to remain open-minded, you can fall victim to it. And the first step is knowing that you can fall victim to it. But if you're just consuming CNN, Fox News, both of these are propaganda machines and are going to warp your worldview tremendously. And my eyes started opening, as most of you know, prior law enforcement, all those racially motivated things, starting with Trayvon Martin, and then slowly the Ferguson stuff and all. And I started going, what the heck? The narrative is not reality. And it started opening my eyes and going past, looking into the history of race. And it's an ugly past with the United States, but it wasn't what the media was selling. And arguing with loved ones, family, in person, on the internet, and going, you guys don't understand, like, this us versus them mentality, and we're getting sucked into it, and that's not reality. And then obviously in 2020, you know what happened, and you can't even say those hot button words. And then with things like suppression, and I'm going censorship, and I'm trying to sound the alarm, going, hey, liberal friends, conservative ideas are getting censored. And they're like, shut up, that's misinformation, malinformation, you crazy conspiracy. I'm like, you don't understand. These same tools that are being used against conservatives are going to be used against liberals, and then used against all of us. You guys are, well, they're third party, businesses can do whatever they want. That's not censorship. And then I'm going, look at the Twitter files. The third party internet businesses are not independent. They're being pressured by government entities to suppress this stuff because of and it's crazy. It makes you look like a psychopath, but if people just want to believe the own reality that's placed in front of them, again, I fall victim. And what I've always said, and when I talk about my Christian values, it instantly turns off people that have a general idea of what Christians are, and they associate it with hate, or they point to the extremist. And we do it with liberals, we do it with conservatives. If you are one side, you're going to point to the extreme so you can be the moral high ground. And same with conservative Christians have done horrible things throughout humanity, and that's not the Christ that I serve. And we paint with broad paintbrushes, to go back to policing as well. Just because some cops made errors in use of force doesn't mean that it's based on their biases. or based on a nationwide perspective. It's way more complex than that, super complex. And understanding racism in hard, obscure concepts, which does exist, but to pin the tail on the donkey and say it's policing and going, oh, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. Anyway, to go back to getting my global views and eyes opened up and going, gosh, maybe I got it wrong when it comes to other perspectives, which makes me hungry for more. And even yesterday, I listened to this like 20-minute rant of a Russian general, and he's in a bunker, and he's talking about the way he sees this war and why it's happening in Ukraine, and how America is fighting a soft war, and Europeans, and what the motivations are. And he may not be right on everything, but we're taught to not want to listen to the other side. But the other side can have maybe a few things that could put chinks in your armor and go, oh, yeah, I never thought of world powers doing this or being nefarious, because we always want to be the good guys, and I want our country to succeed more than anybody. And not more than anybody, all you guys want, but more importantly, we want peace. And we live in a sinful, fallen world where sometimes that seems out of touch. And Satan's, the father of all lies, why he loves to muddy the waters with real misinformation, with narratives. And then you see these horrible things like yesterday. I'm going to date the video with that Catholic school bang bang thing where some innocent little children, and I watched the manifesto of the shooter, doing his own video prior, and the demonic voices coming out of him. Most people, we pin the tail on the mental illness side, and that's easier pill to swallow than actually pulling the veil back that there is good and evil on this earth, that the same demonic forces in Jesus's day that Jesus was healing, the man in the tomb being possessed by legion, other demonic forces, the same things that we call schizophrenia, those were all in all cultures, but all cultures recognized that those were demonic forces, especially in our Christian faith. But that's a scary thing, and that's a taboo thing, even among other Christians. So history repeats itself, and history also shows that what the truth is, and the truth has definitely been bent. And God says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. That's why all my opinions on global affairs or hot button issues or cultural issues, I can be wrong on, and I can keep an open mind on, and I can understand that there's more minutia, nice word, than what we're just being prepackaged of us versus them, because we're all them. And I could be wrong, but the only way for me to discover that is to get the other side of the coin and listen and talk to other perspectives. But what I know I'm not wrong, and that's my bedrock, is my faith in the Bible. Because and we're all going to discover that. We all have an expiration date, and there is no I told you so when you're in front of the judgment seat looking at the Lamb's Book of Life. And I'm a sinful person, and people love to call hypocrite when I do this wrong and this wrong. Yep, I'm a sinner too, just like you. But there's only one thing that separates believers from non-believers, and that's faith in our Savior, which is Jesus Christ. The same yesterday, today, and forever. God is. So I'm on my journey of life. I don't get it right all the time. God's given me a wonderful don't know if we want to call it a platform to talk to other people. I typically say at the end of my video, like, no one's watching this except my mom, but oftentimes you guys, most notably toy collectors, because that's my my hobby, which turned into all sorts, my job, everything. Oftentimes I see you guys at toy shows and people come up to me and go, hey, you don't know me, but I watch your videos. Like, I watch your religious videos, I watch your life videos, because toys are fun, that's vacation. But these kinds of my heart to heart, you know, those are my running narratives. I didn't write nothing down, I just sparked a thought from watching that Russian general's perspective, because I didn't buy into everything he said, but it, again, opened my eyes and gave me different perspectives. So if you're in the certain camps, conservative, liberal camps, with woke, you're the enemy, or MAGA, you're the enemy, you got it wrong. You got it wrong, because most of us are in the center ground where we can look at both sides and go, yeah, that issue, it's a little more complex, and there's parts that the left's got right on that issue and parts that the right's got it wrong. But to keep us fighting, I mean, there's a method to the madness. There's a reason that happens. So stay thirsty for knowledge. Don't go on endless tangents with worldly knowledge, because that'll just drive you into the loony bin. And if you want true peace and you want true understanding, then you know where I'm going to point you to. All right. See you guys. Bye-bye.